I'll admit I have a long slide deck. I have a lot to talk about, but I'll try to pack it as quickly as we did in marketplace. First, about myself. I'm a naval architect. I'm an avionics systems engineer, and I'm an organization psychologist. This is basically the three of my skills that have combined me to be pretty good at building startups, scaling them, and understanding what exactly I'm doing and what is happening, what is going right, and what is going wrong. And I'll try to share some of my insights from this, basically from this. One moment. Yeah, correct. So what we did in 2024, we built marketplace in just 10 months. And we didn't just build it. We built it to be the #1 marketplace by downloads, so the fastest growing, not the largest, but the fastest growing in Kazakhstan. Here's my plan, what I'm going to talk about. First of all, why us? Why? Because Kazakhstan, it already has about 20 marketplaces, and 3 of them are pretty big ones. So why did we enter it with another one? Because there was a team which I joined, which had experience with a previous project, Kazan Express. It was recognized as the fastest growing marketplace in the CIS, not just Russia actually. And it built a network that basically managed to serve about half the Russia in just 1 day for delivery. While doing that, it also managed to achieve a record low cost, just $2 per order, while other marketplaces had a total cost around $3 to $5 to even more dollars per order. This model was successful not just in Russia, it went to be successful in Uzbekistan. Some of you may have heard of Uzum. It's basically the #1 company in Uzbekistan. It's a unicorn. It's worth about $2 or $3 billion. So it was basically built on the same exact software. The results were also just as impressive. And of course, we wanted to continue. We wanted to build it more. We wanted to go to other countries. But in this time, we hit a snag because the old software, we could not reuse it. There were basically legal challenges. When you're scaling across multiple countries, you are selling pieces of your company to your investors, and this means that the investors, they also own some of your software. So if you want to start clean sheet, if you want to have entirely your own software, entirely your own company, you have to start anew. And here, when we started, like I said, I always try to analyze what we're doing. And the challenge #1 is to build the right team of founders. There are studies, it's linked here at the bottom, the link to the study. There are many similar studies, but basically they all come up to the same conclusion. Some combinations of founder types tend to have more success than others. And the factor is, like you can see here, the factor is about 12 times more success when you have the perfect team of leaders and developers. And this was the first challenge where some may think we would fail because we did not have the perfect mix. But at least we mapped the team that we had, the founders, the top managers, and we tried to combine them into a mix that is somewhere in between. The kind of mix that still works most of the time. The reason I'm talking about this is going to be always important to remember who are the people in your team and how do they match. The next question, of course, is if you only have 10 months, why even bother building our own software? Why not just take the old team? Well, if we take the old team, the problem is that the old team took 5 years to build this business, and we have 1 year. So the old team is not the people you want. For some people are the other ones you want, others are not the ones you want for a much faster development cycle. Why don't we take someone else's team, like hire an outsourced company? Because the outsourced company, it has its own interests. So when we are starting to sell the software, starting to scale it across more countries, we again have this conflict of who actually owns the software. Yes, as the customer, you always get all the rights, but we know how it goes. Parts of the code belong to the other company, parts of the code can be sold separately. The other company still has the expertise to reproduce this. And so basically we decided that we have to mix and match. We can buy software that is not absolutely critical to our business, does not define our business on the open market, but the software that defines our business, that is our competitive advantage, that one we have to build ourselves. Okay, why am I showing you this? Because every team, even the biggest company, even the most advanced team, whatever they are doing, people tend to follow the same tribal patterns, where you have the chieftain, you have the seniors, so to speak, the elders. You have the regular members of a tribe who do most of the work. And there is also the temptation that we are going to hire a team of clones. Let's say this guy in the background. He seems to be the strongest. Let's hire him 50 times. Okay, what happens if you hire him 50 times? You have 50 leaders competing for leadership, and it doesn't really work. That's if even you manage to hire 50 clones. This was especially a problem when facing a market which is not exactly rich with high skill, high experience developers, because it's not Silicon Valley and we don't have Silicon Valley money. If you go into any other country, then like Silicon Valley, California, Austin, or Moscow, or some other, or Dubai, these big IT hubs. Any other country, you have to work with the people you have, the people you get. For us, the decision was to start digitizing everything earlier. So we don't just evaluate employees on one scale. Is he good or is he bad? We evaluate him on two scales. First of all, how well he performs now, and second, how he's going to perform in the future. This helps us maintain a sort of metrics where we rank people between basically on two axes. This way, we can maintain a balance between performance and leaders, because performance leaders and maybe even future leaders. Or you see the sector enigma. We are talking here about employees who you find out to have very high potential, but you can't use it now. It's not exactly for you now. To put it this way, to build a marketplace, we need a very good, very strong artificial intelligence team. But when we're just starting out, we don't have any data for AI specialists to work with. So when we had to hire data scientists, we had to look forward. We had to have people who will perform half a year from now, not today. But if you don't hire these people, then you're never going to build the data you're going to need when you're actually able to afford, good AI development. It's very important, as we found out, to be honest with ourselves, to evaluate people that we have hired, because There are always going to be underperformers. There are always going to be people who are not exactly what you need right now. But it's better to admit them, to admit this, that you have an underperformer on your team, than to pretend that everyone performs well, uh, just so you don't have to fire people. This plays a big impact in the future as your team is growing. Now that we know who we are, what team to combine, the big question is, what should we build? Well, I think we have a pretty experienced audience here. I think you'll know that, first of all, you break down your business by value. So here is, for instance, a breakdown of a different business, and it turns out that some businesses have most of their value in things like locations. Others have value in branding. Others in staff. And this breakdown helps you understand which systems are going to be your innovation systems, which systems are going to differentiate you, and which systems, like for instance, if location is a very big part of your value, then the system which helps you to build to pick locations for your stores in retail, for your pickup points in a marketplace, this might be a system that you're going to build yourself. Not the map itself, of course. The maps are available in the market, but the system that actually analyzes locations. On the other hand, if pricing is your driving your unique selling point, then you have to invest your AI resources, because they're always scarce and they're always very expensive, into finding just the best pricing, the best balance between cost and demand, because supply, demand, and profit. In our case, we found out that our most important was the product. Our most important part of the business was the product and the quality of our delivery. And so we decided that, yes, we use the value chain mapping method for this. I'm not going to go into detail about how it works because it's pretty complex, but this is just sort of suggestions of how do we come up with these ideas, with these plans. And here we analyzed, and I'm going to get closer to the retail meeting here, which are the pain points in the GCC market. So basically, it's former CIS and the Middle East market. One of the problems is high prices, because sometimes customers in this region pay twice what the product costs in other countries, like United States. And twice is really a big pain point. Poor information, because when you're talking about marketplace, you have, as you know, A, B, and C goods. So A goods, these are your iPhones, your MacBooks. They are brand items. Everyone knows what it is. You don't need to do anything special for A goods. Then there's the C goods. The C goods, it can be anything. It can be any stuff. It can be toys, something else. People don't care. But most of the value comes from the big goods. And the big goods are the goods which are sort of, which have some characteristics which differentiate them from others. But on the other hand, which are not as well known as the iPhone, so you can't rely on people to just Google it elsewhere. This meant that we had to build a system which stores and stores and categorizes information about the goods very thoroughly. Most of the pain points come from the sellers. One of them is that there's a lot of systems to work with. A lot of the marketplaces require you to call here, come in person there, fill in this form, fill in that form, go to several different systems. And that creates, basically that makes listing goods much slower than we would want. And another pain point is the difficulty of processing returns. and faulty goods, because it's a reality. Some goods get broken, some goods get lost, and the cost of one such problem can easily exceed the cost of an item. And when we are trading on about 5% margins, as we want people to trade on low margins, high volume, that can become a pain point. And the third pain point we noticed is that the manufacturers, there's a lot of manufacturers in China which produce goods which are a very good fit for developing markets, but they don't have an online channel. So we decided to make a bit of a twist on the marketplace model. We would not just serve logistics inside the country, but we would do throughout logistics between China, our warehouse, and the customer. This way, a seller on our marketplace would be able to just go to Alibaba or 1688, the big Chinese marketplaces, pick the item he wants to sell here, and tell us, get this item, list it, bring it to the warehouse, and sell it. So all that the seller has to do is to make the decision, supply the money, but he doesn't have to handle the physical goods. And that is really a big selling point, because you have different kinds of sellers. You have people who can handle physical goods, who have their own warehouses, trucks, and so on. You have people who don't want to do this, but who have the money to enter this market. And we are actually the first marketplace in here which tapped into this market. Now let's get to technical stuff. We decided that we have to build particular systems by ourselves. To be specific, these particular systems would be the warehouse management system, because we cannot achieve the same speed of one-day delivery with any other available WMS. The reason is that other WMS, we have tested them, they require about 20 clicks per order. Clicks, actions, entries for the operator. And to do what we do, deliver in one day, we had to reduce this to just 5 clicks per order. We have actually reduced it further to just 3 clicks and 2 actions which are done with basically a wrist scanner. So let's get a bit more into the technical stack. For the software, we picked .NET stack. Why .NET? I'll talk a bit more about this later, but basically .NET has the highest performance of any technical stack you can build software on. And high performance, it comes into play when you're starting to enter high load for your system. Because if you are building, say, on Python or Ruby or any other system language which is easy to build but slow, you're going to have to scale horizontally very quickly. You have to go to microservices right away. If you are building on a high-performance stack, which is C, C++, C#, Rust, then you can maintain your systems as in our case, we have a service-based architecture, but sometimes it can be even monolithic architecture. You can maintain them monolithic for longer, and you can defer this cost of migration to microservices to when you have a lot more revenue, when you're not so reliant on your investors' money. Because C# responds very well to vertical scaling, which is performed hardware. For our mobile applications, we picked Flutter because Flutter is just multi-platform. It allows us to build one app for different phones, different brands, iOS, Android, and it can even go on web. Although the experience on web, to be honest, it's not very good. And the next reason we had to build a lot of systems ourselves is that we need an API. You always have partners. If you want to build a marketplace, you have to have banking partners. which will provide you buy now, pay later, and other services. They always have their own API, and any system you build or buy or install has to be customized to work with their APIs. The next problem was designing how to basically arrange the architecture. Some of you may have heard of Conway's law. It says that basically it says that the shape of your business determines the eventual shape of your IT systems. So if you have teams in 3 different cities, you are very likely to end up with 3 clusters of your systems. And this is fine when you're working in Kazakhstan. For instance, in Kazakhstan, we have centers in Astana, it's the capital, in Almaty, it's a digital hub, and Karganda, which is basically the geographical center. We have our logistics hub, and this works. But what if we have to deploy the system to another country? And that country, maybe it has only 1 capital, or maybe it's Turkey, it has 2 capitals, but neither of them is the geographical, but one of them is the geographical center. Or maybe a different country entirely, which has to have 2 warehouses. Because it's not centered, it's like longitudinal, elongated. If you are building the system according to the Conway's law, you're going to bring these artifacts to countries where they make no sense. And so we had to be more proactive in picking our architecture. And here we actually had a debate, because for startups, maybe you have heard of this chart. It's basically the architecture style worksheet by as you can see, there are different styles we can pick, from just a simple monolith, which basically no one uses today, to very complex space-based event-driven architectures, which are a lot more expensive, a lot slower to deploy and produce, but potentially produce high performance. For a startup, basically, this choice is usually between a modular monolith and a service-based architecture. And let's see. We had to think about what's going to happen if we go either way. If we go with a monolith, we build this really quickly, but when a company starts expanding into different countries, the business itself is going to change. For instance, in Kazakhstan, logistics is extremely important. In some other countries, it's less important. And so a service-based architecture served us better because it allows us to separate this concern into different teams, different systems. Okay, I'll start to speed up. For infrastructure, I think we'll know that all infrastructure is just a mess. Serverless is very attractive, but in reality, it turns out to be very complex. If we wanted to scale and move to different countries, we had to pick a vendor-agnostic Kubernetes architecture. Let's talk about how the launch went. We did launch from our warehouse in Karganda. It's just 1 warehouse for the entire country. We are able to deliver to half the country by car and other half country by airplane. Actually, the plan here was that we would only cover this western part in 2026, but as you know, plans change, startups change, and we started to cover it in 2025, but by air shipping. It's actually incredible how we do it. We have to time our cars exactly to when the plane is just about to exactly when the plane is loading up, so our goods come on the plane last. That way, when the plane arrives to the different country, our goods come off first. And we are able this way to deliver through the whole thing, warehouse to airport, from the airport to another city in just 1 day. Yes, we built pickup points with renders, but actually today they pretty much look like this. We built plans for future expansion, and it seems like all goes well. Well, it doesn't, because we are building a system at such a high speed. We start to skip certain steps in growth. I think everyone here has heard about spiral dynamics, but if no, I'll just do a quick reminder. Whatever company you are building, even if you take people who worked at Google before, and Google is at a very high level on this chart. When you're starting out, you start here at the bottom. You started what people think of as a startup. Just 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are basically doing the same. Everyone is sharing the same roles. Everyone is doing the same. And some people dream that this level is the same as a self-managed organization. How do they call it? Anyway, but it's not. You have to get through these big pain points. So when you start to realize that your employees are actually people, they don't all dream just about the startup. They all have their own goals, their own families to feed, their own families to basically go home on holidays. And so people start to separate. Some are the leaders, some are just, let's say, going to the work-life balance thing. That's where companies become more about domination, more about one leader. But we know that the system is not very good, because especially when you don't have perfect leaders, and you never have perfect leaders, you definitely don't have perfect leaders in every department of every part of a marketplace, because a marketplace is about 20 departments doing completely different things. We tried to really quickly fast lane this, skip this part. So we quickly went to what is called the blue phase, the authoritarian phase. This is where you build a lot of rules, and with these rules comes, of course, restrictions, and comes a slowdown. We launched our first system in just 3 months. Our releases took about 1 week. But once we split into 3 teams, once we built up rules about how the teams work, we had actual releases, actual new features only once per month. And this is where companies try to go to the so-called orange level, the cheapest level. But this is actually very difficult. Most companies, they don't get to this level. They just slide back and forth between rules and accomplishments. The next levels, even higher, it's basically, I would not even dream about this at this point, because this is something that only the best in the business achieve. And for a marketplace, you usually don't have to go that high, because you're not inventing. Let's face it, you're not sending people to Mars. Maybe we're going to send good to Mars someday, but for that you're still fine with just an achievement-based company culture. So how did we manage to pass this really hard stage of growth? Well, we didn't. It's also important that at this point, we are still in the valley of death. We are still in the point where we are dependent on our seed capital. So we can't, measure performance by how much money which department, which person, which leader brings, because we are still not profitable. And if we're going to stay as slow as we stay in this blue zone, we're going to never become profitable. As you can see, the 2 biggest problems for startups failure is that, well, the first problem, of course, they're not needed. And if so, they should fail. It's a good thing they fail. And the second is that they run out of money. So their product market fit is good. They have revenue actually, they have customers, but they just don't have the cash to pass through this valley of death. This meant that after our, put it this way, our champagne moment, we actually had to scale down. Scaling down. Well, we're not going to, of course, scale down our warehouses. We need them. So, like, lean manufacturing, the Toyota manufacturing system, the same applies to software. Of course, first of all, we apply with this to our warehouses, but they're pretty much all about this already. And second, we have to apply this to IT. And that is where things get really tricky, because most people don't think of IT as a lean production. Most people think of it as investment and so on. I won't go into detail, but let's put it this way. The biggest waste is extra processing. This is where you focus too much on your specifications, focus too much on what exactly you want to build. So you spend more time, more effort building something that you don't actually need to be this exactly specific. And the second biggest waste is defects and rework. So how do you solve this problem? On one hand, you have to know what exactly you're building. On the other hand, it's a waste of time. Well, it's a waste of time for your, let's put it this way, you have your core features, your database. And that's why you have to be very exact about what you're doing. And then you have your front end, your customer-facing features. And that's where you can actually afford to make mistakes. You have to account that even the designers, even the product managers, they don't perfectly know what they're doing. And if you make a mistake, think of it as an experiment. And this way, we were able to greatly reduce about by half by separating systems into core and customer-facing, to reduce overprocessing by about half. So we sped back up. We started to deliver features in 2 weeks, as we used to, and basically this caused us to have to change the entire organization. The most important thing was to change how business thinks about IT, because before, where we had this seed capital, we were good on money. The business was really sure that they are always going to get what they want. This change from IT is a service to IT is experimentation. I'm not going to talk in detail about how to do this, but the hardest thing about it was to really share information, make people say not what they want to get, but what they actually need to get. Once we break through this barrier, once people exchange information more honestly, yes, they don't say we need this blue button and this green button. They just say we need customers to be able to pick favorite goods. Do it any way you make. Once we did this, the resistance, it started to slow down. So, and of course, the pace of development started to pick up. And another thing that they had to change was leadership. Because when the company is young, you're going to get the most results with an autocratic leadership style, where one leader is just, where you have strict hierarchy and everyone just does what the leader says. But once you're growing, once you have multiple teams, first of all, you have to go through the bureaucracy phase, but then you have to go to much more complex leadership styles, transformational, visionary, and this is where sometimes you have to change a person and that transformation leadership. Other times you have to replace the person, which is not nice, but I mean, sometimes you have to go there. You can't have pace setters, which are leaders which also do half the work themselves. You can have them lead a team of 3 or 5 people, but not a team of 50 people, of course. And well, that's basically a different topic, but you have to. Here we come back to the beginning where we have mapped all our founders and our top managers, and we knew in advance who is inclined to which leadership styles. And this way, we were able to prepare people who are more inclined towards more advanced leadership styles for promotion. So,
Oleg, I'm sorry, but
yeah, that's how the story goes.
just one
Thank you.
minute. Oh, so
Thank you. And I'm ready for
then
questions.
we have a perfect time, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. And probably I interrupted you in the end, but just one more time. What the most essential leadership qualities for managing IT in such a fast-growing company? What do you think? What are the most essential skills?
I would say the most essential skill is the ability to change. Specifically, you want leaders who who can do multiple styles, not people who have only one style, but people who can do multiple styles. They can be autocratic when you are just starting out. They can be pay status when they have to, and they can change into visionaries or transformational leaders when you have to manage a larger team like 100 people.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? It was such a big story, but very exciting. Probably
it is
all
very
the parts
exciting.
was skipped. We should put it into the next presentation.
So I have one question, Oleg. You were showing one slide where you wanted to be, where the company wanted to be. So what is that you wanted to be?
We wanted to be the #1 software for marketplaces worldwide.
All right. No, but the thing is, you are into which kind of product manufacturing or distribution or what kind of stuff?
We are basically creating the best system for running a marketplace. Think about
Okay.
McDonald's. It's the largest fast food chain in the world, and every McDonald's in every country is usually the cheapest restaurant in that country. It's the same. It's very predictable and it's very efficient. And we want marketplaces around the world to become just as predictable, just as efficient. We want basically the marketplaces in every country to deliver everything in one day, do it cheaply, and do it with less effort.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Such an ambitious plan. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.